Hello and welcome back to Car Rental University. I am your host, Alex Withrow. Today we're going to talk about what are 5 key things that you need to grow and scale in this business. Before I get into that, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. That also comes with the Car Share Growth Guide, which is a city-by-city breakdown of which car share platforms are strongest in your area. You don't want to miss it. Also, give this channel a subscribe and a like. I always appreciate that. First, I want to say, this may kind of come as a kind of a funny thing, but for real, you need investors. What I would say is that because right now this industry, for example, you cannot take out 50 auto loans to grow your car rental business. That's just not going to fly with a bank, right? And so nobody's going to let you have 50 auto loans. Like they may let you have like 5 auto loans, but they're not going to let you have 50 auto loans. So how do you get up to 50 cars? How do you get up to 100 cars? The owners and the fleet owners that I know that have 150, 200 cars, they have scrapped this together through private investors. That's really the only way to handle this at this point in this industry. So if you have a model that's working at 5, 10, 15 cars, maybe 30 cars, I know a lot of owners buy cars cash that are cheaper. That's a great way to start out, but ultimately to get up to 50, 100, 200 cars, you are going to need private investors. There's really no way around it in this industry at this point. That is, in my opinion, the number one thing that is slowing down the growth of the car share industry is that the investment community has not quite caught on yet. It is starting though, however. Secondly, you've got to have a maintenance system that is automated, and you've got to have teams, and you've got to have good communication amongst your teams. That is really important in this business. Obviously, if you're a turo operator, I'm preaching to the choir. Like you have to cross every T and dot every I on maintenance with turo. But even if you're a getaround guy, it's a little more of a lenient system. So is Uber Car Share. I would say that even though it's a little more lenient, you can't let it slack that much. So you really do need to have systems in place that can really kind of put things together and keep those ratings high on the platform. So you always want to develop good habits in that regard. Thirdly, I would say partnerships are important. There's a couple ways this can go. You can have co-hosting partnerships. If there's some cars you just don't want to deal with, you can give them to other hosts who have fleets and they can run it for a profit split with you. I would say my favorite kind of partnership is a parking partnership. So if you are a getaround host, you know that getaround has partnerships with different garages around each city. You can call up getaround, you can find out where their host garages are. Basically, partnerships and garages for getaround hosts. But even in my old days when I was in New Jersey, I paid off a local vendor who had a parking space, a couple parking spaces in the back lot, and I gave him like $50 a month just to let me use the parking space, and they were cool with that. So sometimes you have to get creative about parking, etc. I know I'm obviously familiar with Spot Hero. I'm obviously familiar with private garages. Typically those spots cost anywhere from $150 all the way up to like $400 a month based on where you live. If you are spending $400 a month on parking, you are spending way too much money just for one car. That's ridiculous. Be creative. You really got to push yourself to get that parking expense down to like $50 a month, if not lower. Another thing is just, I can't emphasize this enough. If you are going to grow large, you need to emphasize the overall customer experience. You need to have people on the ground who can handle cars. You need to have a back office of customer support. And really, if they're asking a question on cell phone number or the email in the system, it needs to go to someone and get resolved quickly. That's a really important part of this business. A lot of times fleet owners with 5 or 10 cars don't really think about it because they handle the business themselves. So you really need to have a strong back office system that can handle just dumb questions, especially when you get up to 50 to 100 cars. So you really need to understand that component. And lastly, I want to say insurance is always a challenge. Insurance is always confusing. I do want to mention I just launched a mini course on insurance. It's very affordable. It gives you basically a breakdown of every single insurance scenario depending on how you are running your fleet. I highly recommend taking a look at it. The link is down below in the description. And what I would say is that you need to understand insurance, and you need to really understand how underwriters are thinking about this industry, because frankly, they don't know a whole lot about car sharing yet, and they are just learning about it. They do know more about rideshare, but what I will say is that as someone who has spoken with underwriting teams in this industry, they are still kind of catching up to all this, and we are working on new solutions that are coming out in this industry. So stay tuned for that. But if you ever need help with insurance, I am your guy. I can definitely help you with insurance. Start with the Ultimate Insurance Mini Course, only $55. If you have further questions beyond that, I have a lot of resources for large fleet owners with regards to insurance. I can definitely help you. Those are the 5 things that you got to consider if you begin to scale. Before I go, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. That also includes the Car Share Growth Guide. And I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you.